So hi everyone, and welcome to this MC2 class. As we already know, we are already discussing about this unit 2. So from last classes, okay, last topic what we have discussed, we have been covered, right? We have been covered the topics. Okay, so mainly the main topics. So the unit 2 is comes under the anti-anginas. So we have been completed the topics like vasodilators, and followed by the calcium channel blockers, and followed by the diuretics and different class of diuretics and their different structures, their mode of action, okay, and their main uses we have been discussed. Okay, now in this class especially we are going to especially focused on to learn the complete details about the last part of the unit 2, that is about the antihypertensive agents, right? So antihypertensive agents are antihypertensives, okay, generally called, or right. So these are the main topic. So there are different molecules has been given here to be to learn specifically their structures, their mode of action, their uses. Okay, so there are number of molecules has been given as a antihypertensives like temelol, captopril, lisinopril, and followed by the enalapril, and followed by the benzapril. Okay, like there are many compounds are there. So we are going to learn one by one, right? First, we'll go to the topic, right? Okay, first we need to understand what is an hypertension, okay, and basic definition, and followed by the classification of hypertension. Okay, then followed by the we are going to be learned about the what are antihypertensive agents or are antihypertensives. Okay, with examples we are going to be learn, with the structural examples we are going to be learn especially. So we are going to especially focus on the drug structures that has been given in our syllabus. Okay, yeah. So first one, right? So what is an hypertension? Okay, right. So what is an hypertension, right? Or high BP. Okay, people used to call it as a high BP, right? BP means blood pressure, right? So hypertension or high BP, high blood pressure. Okay, so it's a quite familiar as a BP is a quite most commonly used terminology. Okay, usually like whenever you thought of like BP means blood pressure. Okay, generally. Okay, so whenever you visit any kind of hospital, they commonly check your blood pressure. Okay, so they used to use the they used to check your blood pressure. Okay, it's a very well known, very famous diagram. They used to tie with this this blood pressure checking machine. Okay, and they used to be check your blood pressure. Okay, usually they used to look for the 120/80. Okay, whether your blood pressure is in between the 120/80 is a quite number everyone used to be registered, and we used to learn in the school terms like, right, 120/80 is the indicate the blood pressure and the heartbeat rate, where 120 is the systolic systolic pressure that is to be indicated, and followed by this is the diastolic pressure that is indicated, right? Usually, right? So then what is hypertension? Okay, so any person like hypertension or high BP is, okay, it has a certain kind of blood pressure level, so that used to be standard value. Okay, so the normal value, okay, that is called the normal BP. Okay, usually when it is called the normal BP means, so if you have a 120/80, that is called the normal BP, and those values varies from 120 to 129, and whereas these values are around vary the 70 to 79. Okay, usually it's called the 120/80 is the normal BP or blood pressure. Okay, now what happened? Any kind of situation or medical situation or any kind of situation, the blood pressure has been crossed the value of 120/80. Okay, that is normal BP value has been increased, okay, from 120 to more than 120/80. Okay, then that is called the high BP. Okay, and that high BP is also known as hypertension. Okay, so usually if they cross the value of like a value of around 140/90 mm of Hg of this blood pressure, then that is called the hypertension or a high BP. Okay, and yeah, so as you know, like blood pressure is the force like excreted by the circulation of blood against the walls of the body arteries, the major blood vessels in the body, and hypertension when it is the blood pressure is too high, right? So usually like the blood pressure is because blood, the blood used to be circulated in the veins, okay, and arteries, okay. So, and it has a certain kind of pressure, okay. So, and the pressure is being built up by the heart, we know that, right? So, it has a normal value of 120/80. If you cross the value of 140/90 of this pressure, or mm of Hg of this pressure of this blood pressure, then it is called as a hypertension or high BP, okay, right? So, so normally, okay, we don't usually like diagnosed, but the high pressure, the blood pressure value, whenever it crossed the 140/90, around, if you reach the value of 140/90, right, in both days, okay, then we used to be considered as some kind of disorder, and we need to be treated for this situation as a high BP, okay. So the main cause of this IBP is usually like we used to have blood vessels, okay, and usually there is a normal blood flow will be there, okay. In any kind of circumstances, like the blood has been has been blocked, okay, because of the any kind of other tissues formation or blocked in the vessel, okay, blood vessel, then what happens, the pressure of the blood will be increased, okay. Normal blood flow, there is not much been involved here, usually it will flow, and pre-hypertension, there is slight blood pressure that can able to be managed, but if you have even more, the vessel will be blocked, okay, then what happens, so it leads to the condition called hypertension, okay. So, and usually the pressure of the blood pressure usually indicated with the two important parameters, that is the systolic pressure and followed by the diastolic pressure. That's what these two values indicate, 120/80, right? So that is known as, this is the definition of hypertension usually, right? Now, okay. Now, if I mentioned that, okay, what if the blood value is more than 120/80, then it is called as hypertension, okay. Usually it's considered as a like 140 to like 140/90 usually, okay. So, and how much greater extent of value it can able to show its highest blood pressure or hypertension, right? Usually normal blood pressure is already mentioned about the 120/80. It's a mm of Hg is the normal blood pressure, okay. Healthy men have that normal blood pressure, okay. And where if you increase like from 120 to 139 and followed by the 80 to 89, okay, that means there is an increment of 120/80, but there is slight increment, okay, and slight increment pressure, that is about the second type, okay, that is the second stage, where we can't consider as a hypertension, is a pre-hypertension, it is a symptom for the hypertension, okay, usually. Why? Because it's not crossed the 140/90 as per the WHO rules, right? Yeah. Now, the another condition is another stage about the, so the blood pressure can vary from the 142 to 159, whereas the 90 to 99, that is systolic and diastolic pressure, mm of Hg, that is called the hypertension stage 1, okay, and it is quite common stage, okay, and even more the blood pressure is increases to the, okay, 160 plus, systolic pressure is 160 plus, whereas diastolic pressure about the 100 plus mm of Hg, that is called the hypertension stage 2, okay, whereas the if you increase even more, okay, it has been crossed the value of systolic pressure of 180 plus and followed by the diastolic pressure of 110 plus, okay, it is called as a hypertension stage 3, okay. This is the highest stage, okay, usually, okay. It's a very high BP, high blood pressure. It's a very serious condition in terms of patient point of view, right? So these are the different stages of the hypertension, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, depending upon the varies more greater than 140 value of systolic pressure as well as the greater than the 90 of mmHg of diastolic pressure, okay. And these are the different stages of the hypertension, okay. Now, what are the main causes of hypertension, okay? Although there is no specific cause of hypertension is not known until now, but basically like any kind of person used to be like experience the unfavorable environmental factors or conditions, okay, mental conditions that usually increases the blood pressure, okay, of a normal or a healthy individual, okay, normal or a healthy individual, okay, usually, right? So that is one of the main situation or condition. Otherwise, increasing the prevailing condition is the mostly blamed on the lifestyle and dietary, okay. Usually the BP, like BP sugar is quite common nowadays, and most of the people used to face this lifestyle diseases like BP and like sugar, right, usually. So here what happen, day by day lifestyle as well as the dietary requirement factors, dietary food, what kind of food habit, dietary food habits, that will also play important role to show this, cause of hypertension, okay, usually, okay. So basically, like when you have taken any kind of like a high diet sodium content from the processed, okay, processed foods or fatty foods, okay, and alcohol use, tobacco use also leads to this situation, condition called hypertension or high BP, right? Now, so how many types of hypertension will be there? Okay, usually, okay. So hypertension in different stages we have learned, but different types of hypertension also will be there. Okay. So when it comes to the like hypertension, right, they are usually referring to two types. Okay. There are two types of hypertensions. Okay. One is about the primary hypertension, and the second one is about the secondary hypertension. Okay. Primary hypertension and followed by the secondary hypertension. Okay. Now, what is primary hypertension? Right. So primary hypertension is also known as essential hypertension, and this is the most common form of the hypertension, and most of the people used to like experience this kind of hypertension called primary hypertension, right? But we don't know exact cause of this primary hypertension till now. Okay, yeah. And secondary hypertension is caused by the underlying disease. Okay, already any kind of patient have experiences the BP, okay, increasing the blood pressure, okay, because of the underlying disease, or even in medication, in any kind of medical situation, or any kind of thyroid dysfunction, and followed by the sleep apnea, okay, and have any kind of diabetes situations, okay. So those and if you have taken any kind of amphetamines or antihistamine drugs, etc., that leads to the increase of the blood pressure, okay. That is also leads to the hypertension situation, and that is called as a secondary hypertension, right? So, and in overall, the primary and secondary hypertensions will be there in the types of hypertension. Okay. Now, what are antihypertensives and what are antihypertensive agents? Okay, right? Like chemotherapeutic agents, we have used to learn, right? Any kind of antibiotics, right? So now the definition we are going to learn about the antihypertensives or antihypertensive agents. Okay, so right. So what are antihypertensive agents, right? Okay, what are antihypertensives or antihypertensive agents, right? Usually we can say that, right, chemotherapeutic agents are drugs which are used to treat the high blood pressure or situation are called as hypertension, okay, and those are known as, those chemotherapeutic agents or drugs are known as antihypertensive agents or antihypertensives, right? So usually in a common definition point of view, any kind of chemotherapeutic agents or any kind of drugs that are used to treat the condition called hypertension or high blood pressure are known as antihypertensives or antihypertensive agents, okay. So the main role of these antihypertensives is they have to be control the blood pressure, otherwise they're supposed to be decrease the blood pressure rate from 142 or more than 140 to 90 mm of Hg to the it brings to the normal blood pressure rate of 120 by 80 blood pressure, okay, mm of Hg of 80 mm of Hg of blood pressure, right? So now these are the antihypertensive agents or antihypertensives, okay. What are the examples? What are the best example, well-known example and famous examples are? First one is about the captopril, right? So it's a captopril, okay, is a thiol derivative having saturated this pyrrolidine derivative having the carboxylic acid, right? Captopril, one of the best example. Another is about the clonidine, okay. So clonidine is a like both aromatic heterocyclic combination of the molecule and clonidine hydrochloride, and this is a clonidine, and this amine is exists in the form of hydrochloride. That is called the clonidine hydrochloride. These are the best examples for the antihypertensive agents or antihypertensives, okay. Okay. Now, so what are the molecules has been given to study about these antihypertensive agents, okay. So as per the syllabus, if you have seen, there are many plenty of drugs has been given, right? Now we are going to learn about these molecules, especially these antihypertensive agents with the structures we are going to be learned one by one, right? So if you have seen the names of these antihypertensive agents, okay, most commonly used and highly used nowadays about the timolol, first one, followed by the captopril, lisinopril, and enalapril, and followed by the enalapril hydrochloride in the form of, and followed by the clonidine hydrochloride, and guanethidine monophosphate, and followed by the guanobench acetate, and followed by the sodium nitroprusside and diazoxide, and followed by the minoxidil, and followed by the reserpine, and followed by the hydrolysine, right? Hydrolysine hydrochloride. Okay, hydrolysine hydrochloride. Okay, now we are going to learn one by one its structure. Okay, so I mean a class of compounds. Okay, we are going to learn the classification of these all antihypertensives in soon, but so just we are going to learn about the structures, right? So if you remember the names like captopril, lisinopril, enlopril, like benazepril, right? Okay, benazepril, these are all a class of compound. Pril, okay, right, basically is a subscript, like a subscript name. Okay, in this case, if you have seen the timolol. Okay, timolol is a heterocyclic compound, right? Heterocyclic compound. If you have seen this one, right? Okay, it's a heterocyclic ring having the both nitrogen, sulfur, etc. Here, it's a timolol. Okay, another about the captopril. Just now we have seen as example of we have seen the example of antihypertensive example captopril. Captopril is a heterocyclic compound having the thioalcohol as a active group. Okay. Next, another about the lisinopril. Okay, so lisinopril is a kind of like amide bond linked. Okay, amide bond linked amino acid derivative having the both aromatic and as well as the heterocyclic molecule. Similarly, there is one more similar kind of derivative that is called as the enalapril. Okay, instead of lisinopril, that is the enalapril. Okay, which is also a similar derivative. Instead of this, butyl amine chain, you have a methyl group here. Instead of carboxylic acid, you have a ethyl ester here. Okay. Another about the culonapril. Okay, so culonapril hydrochloride. That means it's a culonapril structure and it is in the existing form of hydrochloride. Any kind of free amine is formed in the form of N plus and hydrogen plus and Cl minus. Okay, it is called the culonapril. Okay, hydrochloride. It's called the culonapril because of the presence of this quinoline ring. Okay, it has the quinoline derived ring structure will be present in this culonapril, so it's called the culonapril hydrochloride. Okay, the form. Okay, another is about the methyl dopate hydrochloride. Okay, so there is star mark. We need to learn synthesis of this methyl dopate hydrochloride, right? So methyl dopate or dopate hydrochloride, where it is called the methyl dopa structure, where this free amine exists in the form of hydrochloride. Okay, there is a NH3 plus and a Cl minus. Okay, it is called the methyl dopate hydrochloride. Okay. And there are four more structure has been given. That is about the guanethidine, right? Guanethidine monophosphate. Okay, guanethidine monophosphate, correct? So it's a guanyl group. Okay, this is called the guanyl group. Okay, and thioidine, this is a thioidine ring, and this is one also exists in the form of salt. Okay, right? Plus and followed by the HPO4 minus. Okay, right? Okay, it's a monophosphate, monosulfate. Sorry, HSO4. Okay. HSO4 okay, exists in the form of exists in the form of monosulfate. Okay, it is about the HSO4 minus. Okay, and plus and HSO4 minus. It is called the guanethidine monosulfate. Okay, another about the guanobench acetate. Is about the guanobench acetate. Okay, so it is also a guanyl group. Okay, it is also a guanyl group, and this guanyl group exists in the form of acetate salt. Okay, that means right CH3COO minus. Okay, whatever the amine salts that will form in the form of salt, and the salt has been stabilized by the acetate. Okay, that is called the guanobench acetate. Okay, another molecule has been given in this class of molecule in this as antihypertensives, that is about the sodium nitroprusside. Okay, and the sodium nitroprusside, it's an organic molecule. It's an inorganic complex molecule. Okay, right? It is called Fe CN5NO and Na2. It is about the Na2. It is called the complex complex compound. Okay, usually it's organometallic complex compound. Usually it's a Na2FeCN6NO. It is about the sodium nitroprusside. Okay, and this is the exact structure of the sodium nitroprusside. Usually we can also write down as a Na2FeCN6NO. Okay, and another example has been given in the structure about the diazoxide, right? Diazoxide. Okay, diazoxide, and it is about the like diazo compound. Okay, and there is a oxiding. Okay, it is also like a sulfonamide kind of derivative. We have seen the structures of sulfonamides. We have learned in the previous classes. Okay, it's almost similar to sulfonamide kind of structures. It is called the dioxide. Okay, and another 3 more molecules has been given in syllabus to study about the minoxidil. Okay, so minoxidil is also a calcium channel blocker kind of molecule where you have your pyrazine ring and have the N-oxide. Okay, in this form. Okay, it's a basically heterocyclic component of the two free amine groups. Okay, it is also actually antihypertensive as well as the hair regrowth. Okay, it is also used as a hair regrowthing purposes. Okay, and another class is another molecule is given about the reserpine. Reserpine is a natural product. Okay, that comes under the alkaloid. Okay, basically, and this reserpine also have the very good antihypertensive activity. But this is a reserpine is a little bit complex structure because of the alkaloid in nature. Okay. And the last compound is given as a compound is about the hydrogen hydrochloride. Hydrogen hydrochloride, where this amine is exists in the form of salt, free amine salt, NH3 plus and followed by the Cl minus. Okay, it's called the hydrogen hydrochloride. Okay. So we have learned about the what are hypertension and definition, different types of hypertension, followed by the what are hypertensive agents and different structures of different antihypertensive agents we have been learned so far.